It's the turn of the 20th century. You're in London, the heart of an empire that spans a quarter of the globe, ruling over 400 million people. Britannia, it seems, truly rules the waves. The British Empire is the wealthiest, most powerful force the world has ever seen. A sprawling dominion built on trade, conquest, and industrial might. Yet, just a few decades later, this colossal structure would come crashing down, not from a military defeat, but from a single trillion-dollar financial mistake. This empire, which once controlled nearly half the planet, was brought to its knees by a strategic blunder so immense it rewrote the map of global power forever. Here's what history books often gloss over. The fall of the British Empire wasn't just a story of independence movements and changing political tides. It was a story of economic suicide. The empire didn't just fade away. It was bankrupted by its own greed. To understand how this seemingly invincible empire went broke, you have to rewind to the dawn of the 20th century. Britain stood at the apex of its power, its economy supercharged by the Industrial Revolution and the vast resources of its colonies. Its currency, the pound sterling, was the world's reserve currency, the bedrock of international finance. London was the banker to the world, financing everything from American railroads to Argentine farms. This global financial dominance was Britain's superpower, even more so than its legendary Royal Navy. It held the world's purse strings and wit to unleash on global events. But this dominance bred a dangerous overconfidence. When a European conflict erupted in the summer of 1914, Britain's leaders made a fateful decision. Believing their financial muscle could secure a swift victory, they chose to bankroll not only their own war effort but that of their allies, including France and Russia. It was a colossal gamble, a decision to finance an industrial-scale war on credit. The government began issuing war bonds, borrowing unprecedented sums from its own citizens and, crucially, from across the Atlantic. The financial hub of London was transforming into the world's biggest debtor. The war, expected to be over by Christmas, dragged on for 4 brutal years. The cost was astronomical, far beyond anything imaginable. Britain's national debt skyrocketed by over 1,200%. To pay for the shells, ships, and soldiers, it liquidated centuries of overseas investments, selling off assets that had cemented its global economic power. It drained its gold reserves and, most significantly, became deeply indebted to one rising power: the United States. The role of world's creditor was shifting from London to New York. The master was becoming the servant. When the armistice was signed in 1918, Britain was victorious but financially hollowed out. It had sacrificed its economic empire to save its territorial one. The nation was crippled by debt, and the pound sterling, once unshakable, was fatally weakened. The illusion of power remained, but the economic foundation had crumbled. The Great Depression of the 1930s delivered another devastating blow, and the final nail in the coffin came with World War II. Forced to fight another ruinously expensive war, Britain had to go cap in hand to the United States once more. The Lend-Lease Agreement, while a lifeline, effectively signed over the last vestiges of Britain's financial independence. By 1945, the country was bankrupt. The national debt was over 250% of GDP. It could no longer afford to police its vast empire. Railroads to Argentine farms. This global financial dominance was Britain's superpower, even more so than its legendary. India's independence in 1947 wasn't an isolated event. It was a foreclosure. This is the hidden story behind the empire's fall. Britain's $1 trillion Mystica decision to finance 2 world wars on credit was the single greatest act of financial self-destruction in modern history. It traded its financial empire for a military victory, and in doing so, ensured its own decline. The power didn't just shift, it was surrendered. To understand how the world order we know today was formed, you have to go back to this moment, when the world's richest empire made the one bet it could never afford to lose.